Hello, this is Donna, and for the next hour, I'll be reading from the weekend edition of the Post Standard on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Trucks dust blasting. Micron neighbors bear the construction blunt. Conahay residents say they had no idea that it would be this bad. From Glenn Cole. Every 30 seconds or so, all day long, a huge construction truck rumbles past the line of homes on Conahay Road in Clay. Water trucks roll up and down the road continuously, keeping down dust but creating lakes of mud in driveways. During a 20-minute stretch on a recent weekday, 41 trucks rolled by, or about 2 every minute. The rate of trucks per minute was similar on nearby Route 31 a couple of days later. Across the road, excavators, bulldozers, and other heavy equipment operate up to 16 hours a day to move millions of cubic yards of earth and gravel for the Micron Technology chip-making plant. Just before noon on most days, a construction contractor ignites a blast to fracture bedrock. Across Conahay Road, the ground pulses briefly like a mild earthquake. A few seconds later, a thick wave of sulfur-smelling air wafts into the front yards. The residents of about a half dozen houses along Conahay Road, just north of Route 31, live next to one of the nation's largest construction sites. They're the first ones bearing the brunt of the constant construction and traffic that are transforming a former rural tract into one of the largest semiconductor plants in the country. In other headlines, McMahon buys ad to, quote, drown out some of the noise. He wants the public to focus on the Micron project, not his beefs with legislatures. By Tim Nouse. More than a year before he faces voters at the polls again, Onondaga County Executive Ryan McMahon is running campaign ads to remind county residents that his accomplishments far outweigh the misplaced signature that has dominated recent news reports. Can you say Micron? McMahon's ad running this month on Facebook and TV touts his work recruiting Micron Technology's chip fabs to Clay, a $100 billion development that he says will transform the region for the next 100 years. The ad aims to redirect public attention to the massive development project and away from the partisan slap fights that have been dominating news coverage of McMahon and the county legislature in the recent weeks. Hopefully, this helps drown out some of the noise, McMahon said in an interview. The county executive is currently embroiled in a dispute with Democratic legislators over term limits law that he accidentally signed, despite intending to veto it. Lawyers for McMahon and each of the county's 2 election commissioners were in court Wednesday to consult with a judge about pending litigation over the goof, which could be costly for taxpayers. Crouse objects to Upstate's plan to close East Adams Street for expansion. The hospital has met privately with lawmakers about its emergency department plans. By Douglas Dowdy and Tim Nouse. Upstate University Hospital is pushing a plan to block off East Adams Street as part of its $450 million emergency department expansion project, hospital leadership told thepoststandard.com. The public hospital says that the closing of one of Syracuse's major streets would provide the best patient flow for the new emergency department, which will be 3 times the size of its current one. Upstate's leadership has been meeting privately for weeks with Syracuse Common Councilors, state legislators, and local emergency officials about shutting down a busy street that takes patients to Upstate and 2 other hospitals, Crouse Hospital and the Syracuse VA Medical Center. Instead of providing access for thousands each day to Upstate Hill and University Hill and nearby hospitals, East Adams would dead end onto Upstate's campus at a new entrance in the expanded ER under Upstate's proposal. Building a ground level corridor between the old and new parts of Upstate would save critical time in emergencies, leaders say. Another option, connecting the new annex with a bridge spanning the same block, would cost extra minutes that the level 1 trauma patients can't afford. The closure is necessary to build a world-class regional trauma center, Upstate's CEO, Dr. Robert Corona, told the Post-Standard Syracuse.com. I think it's pretty straightforward, which is ideal for a level 1 trauma center, said Upstate's chief emergency doctor, William Paolo, noting that his trauma patients come from 14 counties across the state. But Upstate's closest neighbor and competitor, Krause Hospital, says it's a risky idea for everyone in the medical district. Closing East Adams would put those life saving minutes for Upstate's patients ahead of people getting treatment elsewhere, Krause leaders argue. Closing off that block of East Adams would make it harder for patients to get to Krause, the VA, and other places on the University Hill Medical District, said Dr. Seth Cronenberg, Krause's president and CEO. At Krause, he said the closure would delay care for its most critical patients. In other Syracuse news, more than 10,000 attend Mary Nelson's 25th Back to School giveaway. Story by Greta Stuckey. More than 10,000 people showed up for Mary Nelson's annual Back to School giveaway Saturday as families lined up for hours under the blazing sun to pick out backpacks, school supplies, sneakers, clothing, fresh produce, and cleaning supplies. The event, hosted by Mary Nelson Youth Center at Meekum Field in Syracuse's Valley neighborhood, marked its 25th giveaway year. More than 10,000 people registered for the event, Nelson said. Looking at the crowd, she said it's the largest turnout she's seen in the event's history. I'm just making sure kids have 5 outfits to go to school with this year. Every day of school, they have a clean outfit to wear that they picked out. Families also receive school supplies and other necessities, while vendors including Vera House, Upstate Mobile Mammography, and Fidelis Care provided information and resources on health, education, and financial literacy. The event included live music, bounce houses, and a free cookout. Volunteers arrived at the park before sunrise to prepare for the giveaway, Nelson said. These kids have an option to pick out what they want, Nelson said. Seeing all of them happy makes it well worth it. Joseph Antonacci, who works with Mary Nelson Youth Center, said the giveaway demonstrates the strength of the Syracuse community. Seeing all these people makes my heart happy because you don't hear about this type of community event in all cities. It's really special. For families, the giveaway offers an opportunity to get much needed supplies and help before the start of the school year. Sarah Hayes brought her 5 children to the event and said it's especially helpful with her family because she homeschools them. It's pretty awesome. These are incredible people working here, and it's just a huge help for our family. Hermisha Vaughn, another mother who attended the giveaway, said the event helps single parents get the supplies and resources their children need for the school year. Vaughn says she's attended the event for several years and brought other mothers with her this year who needed the help. What Mary Nelson does is a blessing, Vaughn said. It opens the door and lightens the burden for us as single mothers. Nelson started the giveaway after her nephew Daryl Patterson was killed at age 23 in June of 2002. Patterson was shot 5 times by a friend who was high on drugs. The annual giveaway has since become one of Nelson's largest community events. Nelson said she will be preparing for next year's giveaway as soon as this one's over. Every year we just start all over again and keep going. In other headlines from Getty's, Labor Day will be the only special day parade at the fair this year. Yet another longtime New York State Fair tradition has fallen off the 2026 schedule. The fair said that all but one of the parades associated with the fair's special theme days won't be stepping off this year. For many years, the fair hosted daily parades. In 2025, the fair hosted parades for Pride Day, Law Enforcement Day, Fire Rescue and EMS Day, and Labor Day. The Labor Day parade, in which members of organized labor traditionally march, will continue this year. Labor Day is September 7th and the last day of the fair. As part of our annual evaluation of the fair's programming and offerings, we determined that the traditional parade days will be discontinued in favor of programming that better serves the organizations and communities being celebrated, as well as the overall fairgoer experience. Jimmy Monto, president of the CNY Pride and president pro temp of the Syracuse Common Council, said the lack of parade on Pride Day, August 28th, won't diminish the day's presence at the fair. Pride Day at the fair has more programming and more events this year than ever before. Instead of parading, the plan is to have an event in front of the Expo Center, and they've added a ton of stuff. The fair has made several notable changes this year, including a new policy that does not allow vehicles inside the fairgrounds from 8:30 to 11:30. Due to that policy, the New York State Division of National Barrel Horse Race Association said that it will prevent them from staging barrel racing this year because they would have to moving the animals in the overnight hours, which would be more anxiety-ridden for the animals and the riders. So they pulled their event from the fair this year. They also discontinued the birthing area on the fairgrounds, so there will be nowhere for people to go and see the dairy birthing um, events, which was very popular in past years. Just a little controversy over this year's fair. In Oneida County, remains found near the marsh are a man missing since 2024. Police said skeletal human remains found in June near the Utica Marsh have been identified. The Onondaga County Medical Examiner's Office identified the remains as Raymond Warmoth, 71 of Utica, said the Utica Police Department. Warmoth had been reported missing in Utica in November of 2024. Police are continuing to work with the Medical Examiner's Office to determine the cause, manner, and time frame of his death. Police were notified June 12th that human remains had been found near the Utica Marsh Wildlife Management Area off Barnes Avenue. Officers located skeletal human remains at the scene. The wildlife area is situated on the border of the city of Utica and the town of Marcy, between the Mohawk River to the south and the New York State Barge Canal to the north. Police ask anyone with information about Warmoth's death to call the Utica Police Department Major Crimes Unit at 315 223 3556. On the Today in History column, a couple of things that are pretty notable. Two American legends in music died years apart on this date. Sunday, August 16th, the 228th day of 2026, with 137 days left in the year. It was August 16th, 1977. Elvis Presley died at his Graceland estate in Memphis, Tennessee at the age of 42. And 41 years later, in 2018, singer Aretha Franklin, known as the Queen of Soul, died in Detroit at the age of 76. Other things that also happened on this date. In 1777, American forces won the Battle of Bennington in what was considered a turning point of the Revolutionary War. In 1896, gold was discovered in Canada's Yukon Territory, sparking the Klondike fever that would draw tens of thousands to the region in search of their fortunes. People born on this date: actor Gary Clark is 93. Actor Julie Newmar is also 93. Actor Leslie Ann Warren is 80. TV personality Kathie Lee Gifford is 73. Movie director James Cameron is 72. Madonna is 68. Actor Angela Bassett, 68. Timothy Hutton, 66. And actor Steve Carell is 64. If you're sharing a birthday this weekend with those folks, well, happy birthday from all of us. In business news, Ed Levine to retire from Galaxy Media Partners after 36 years. Story by Jonathan Croyle. Ed Levine, the founder, president, and chief executive officer of Galaxy Media Partners, has announced his plans to retire later this year. Levine founded Galaxy Media Partners in 1990 with a single radio station, WKLL, operating from a diner in Utica. Over 36 years, Levine built the company into a regional media leader that at one point owned 15 radio stations across central and upstate New York, including TK99, WKTW FM, K-Rock, WKLL, WKRL, WKRH FM, Sunny 102, WZUN FM, and ESPN Syracuse, WTLA AM. Galaxy has also managed some of the region's most popular live events, including Taste of Syracuse, the Syracuse Nationals, Lights on the Lake, and more. I'm really proud of the contributions we've made to the community, Levine told the Post-Standard in 2020. Whether it be charitable contributions, concerts we've put on, savings events like Taste of Syracuse, I think in some small way we've made the area a better place to live, and that's my proudest accomplishment. Levine's retirement announcement comes months after news broke this winter about Galaxy's financial situation. In 2025, the company took up a $1.1 million loan with a term of 3 months. To get the loan, Levine pledged the Taste of Syracuse and Syracuse Nationals as collateral. After he defaulted on the loan, the lender sued Galaxy for ownership of the two popular events. Both events went ahead as scheduled this summer after Galaxy reached a settlement with Rosella's Trust. Levine grew up in Westchester County as a radio geek, constantly listening and calling into the New York City shows. He pursued a career in broadcasting in 1974 at Syracuse University. My father did not leave me with a lot of material things, but he left me with one statement when I was 8 years old, Levine said. He looked at the little Eddie Levine and said, "Son, you want to work for yourself. You want to be in control of your own destiny. He worked hard to get on the air at WAER as a freshman while everyone else was out chasing chicks, he said in the 2020 interview. He became the station's program director during his senior year at SU. I owe pretty much everything that's happened in my life positively to Syracuse University and to Newhouse in particular, because at the end of my sophomore year, I met this really hot freshman, Levine said of his now wife, Pam. After 40 some odd years, we're still together, and my daughter went to Newhouse, so everything I've had in success in my career and my personal life really started at Newhouse. You're listening to a reading of articles and features from the Post Standard on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. From the hospitality column, Beacon Skiff adds a new adventure park to its growing apple empire, story by Renee Fox. The hardest part of running an apple orchard is not always growing apples. Sometimes it's getting people to visit when there's no apples to pick. That challenge is behind Beacon Skiff's newest attraction, Apple Grove Adventure Park, a $1 million expansion at its Apple Hill campus with a giant farm slide, zip line, petting zoo, farm-themed playgrounds, jumping pillows, and a retired fire truck. The park was built on 6 acres that held apple trees earlier this year. It opens to the public August 29th. Tickets are listed online at $20 for a day pass, $65 for a season pass, and $220 for a family 4-pack season pass. Beacon Skiff president Eddie Brennan says that earlier generations of his family might have needed some convincing before removing any of the trees. If my grandfather was standing here today, I think he'd be a little confused about why we'd rip out 6 good acres of apple trees, Brennan said Wednesday at the ribbon cutting. His grandfather knew a different version of farming. You planted trees, picked apples, and passed the land down. But keeping the land in the family now takes more than leaving it untouched. The old rows had value, Brennan said. They were just not enough to carry the business forward. The job here has never been to keep the farm the same way. He said it's just been to keep the farm. That meant turning Beacon Skiff into more than a fall apple picking destination. The company now has more than 350 employees and businesses that include hard cider, spirits, music concerts, a tasting room, and other experiences at Apple Hill. It hosted the Syracuse Jazz Fest for the first time this summer. The orchard now has 4 houses that visitors can rent for overnight stays. But a key growth engine for Beacon Skiff over the last 2 or 3 years surely would have surprised Brennan's grandfather. Its cannabis division, Heirloom, is one of the top-selling brands in the state. Beacon Skiff Cannabis. Interesting. Heirloom, a cannabis drink brand, has grown by double digits for each of the past 3 years, he said. Brennan said Beacon Skiff's overall business is up more than 15% this year. Its hard cider business is also up more than 15%. The company opened a new 15,000 square foot warehouse earlier this year as well. Still, the orchard is the main attraction, and the adventure park could help answer a vital issue with such a seasonal business. The hardest part about having an apple orchard is convincing people to come when there's no apples, Brennan said in an interview. Brennan said customers had long told the company they loved visiting Beacon Skiff, but the children's area was lacking. The company studied other farms around the country before deciding what to build. In January, the site was still orchard land covered in snow. It had a small climbing area and slides. Now, Brennan said it has the largest farm slide in America, a zip line, an animal barn, a racetrack, and the biggest jumping pillow the company could buy. And then there's the fire truck. Brennan said he found it on Facebook Marketplace and had kind of an impulse buy that only makes sense if you're building a children's adventure park. I saw a fire truck, he said, and I had to have it. Amid shouts of fearful joy while a few kids, visitors, and employees slid, zip-lined, and jumped, someone let the fire siren wail, inspiring laughter amongst the apple trees. Onondaga County Legislature Dave Knapp, whose family farms nearby, said the project reflects the pressure on agricultural business to find new ways to survive. These days in agriculture, you have to adapt, you have to have diversity if you're going to survive. In other business news from the storefront, Chick-fil-A will soon add twists on s'mores, chicken, and waffles, and Domino's adds new pizza in the shape of its logo. Story by Brandon Champion and Kelly Kazak. Chick-fil-A is using 2 classic food combinations to enhance its menu. The fast food chicken chain said it will begin offering chicken and waffle sandwiches, a s'mores milkshake, and s'mores frosted coffee beginning on August 24th. The seasonal menu items continue Chick-fil-A's year-long nostalgia-inspired celebration that aims to offer a twist on familiar favorites. In this year of nostalgia-inspired celebrations, we want to bring something unique this fall by reimagining the comforting flavors our guests crave this time of year, delivering a taste that feels both familiar and new to appeal to all ages, said Allison Duncan, Director of Menu and Packaging for Chick-fil-A. Both chicken and waffles and s'mores are much-loved classics, and we challenged ourselves to bring those flavors to our menu in a playful and unexpected way. The excitement from the guests in our test markets was off the charts, and we couldn't wait to release it. Guests can customize cravings with their preferred filet options, choosing original, spicy, or grilled. And the breakfast sandwich, available in the standard breakfast hours from opening until 10:30, has a smaller chicken filet and waffle, while the entree option for lunch and dinner, available from 10:30 to close, has a larger filet and waffle. Chick-fil-A's new s'mores offerings combine the nostalgic flavors of toasted marshmallow, graham crackers, and chocolate in 2 different ways, with a s'mores milkshake or s'mores frosted coffee. Domino's is releasing a pie shaped like its logo. After more than 65 years, Domino's is releasing a namesake pizza. Launching nationwide on August 31st, the new Detroit-style pizza called the Domino comes in a rectangular shape just like the brand's logo. Cut into 2 large slices, the pizza is handmade with buttery flavored pan dough and Parmesan cheese, up to 3 toppings, and finished with a drizzle of Domino's signature garlic seasoning. The Domino fills a gap in our portfolio, said Joe Jordan, the Chief Operating Officer and President of Domino's U.S. and incoming CEO. When everyone wants something different, traditional pizza falls short. The Domino lets everyone build the exact pizza they want. It's fitting that the next generation of pizza is shaped like the logo of the #1 pizza company in the world. The Domino is so mouth-watering we gave it our name. Customer who tried the Domino rated it as one of the most delicious products Domino's has ever introduced, according to Ann Arbor, Michigan-based chain. McDonald's is turning up the energy. For fast food giant, they'll continue to expand its craft drink options this month when Red Bull Dragonberry Energizer arrives nationwide August 17th. The move marks McDonald's entry into energy drinks, but continues a trend that began earlier when crafted sodas and refreshers hit the menus. The new energy drink combines Red Bull's signature flavor with blue raspberry syrup and freeze-dried dragon fruit to create a bold, fruit-forward sip. Guests can also order that drink with Red Bull Zero, and some locations are offering 8.4-ounce cans of just straight Red Bull. We've seen growing enthusiasm for our crafted sodas and refreshers as fans look for more variety and options to fit every occasion, said Alyssa B., Chief Marketing and Customer Experience Officer of McDonald's USA. They loved the Red Bull Dragonberry Energizer when we tested it, so we're excited to give fans nationwide the energy they've been craving, and we're just getting started. Other new drink options at McDonald's include Vanilla Swirl, which pairs smooth vanilla flavor and your choice of Coca-Cola, Diet Cola, or Coke Zero sugar, and topped with a creamy cold foam. Other fan favorites like Orange Dream with Fanta and new reduced sugar crafted sodas with Diet Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar, and Sprite Zero Sugar are also available at select locations. Food and Wine is making a search of Costco easier this month by naming new food items to be on the lookout for. Food and Wine advise not every product rolls out nationwide, so it's worth checking your local warehouse to see what's in stock. Twice baked cinnamon-filled croissants for Costco. It's a new flavor for them. Some fans are likening these croissants to churros with cinnamon cream slathered inside and a cinnamon streusel on top. Food and Wine. Fling by Jing Sichuan Chili Crisps. This condiment has been sold before and it's back for an unknown amount of time. It's Fly by Jing. In sports news, jersey colors tell us who's making an impression at training camp. Syracuse's top performers are donning black and orange instead of the traditional green. Story by Chris Carlson. BJ Long says he put on 20 pounds of muscle this offseason. Head coach Fran Brown told him that if he wanted to play in the NFL, he needed to gain some weight. So Long ate 5 times a day, stuffing himself to discomfort for a couple of weeks until his body got accustomed to the increase in calories. He increased his protein, he lifted hard, and when he had time in between eating and lifting, he pumped out push-ups, chasing even the smallest of edges. Long's first reward for that effort came on the second day of training camp. Long, whose full name is Brahim Long Jr., arrived at the John A. Lally Athletic Complex and found a black jersey with his number 0 on it, instead of the green worn by the majority of the team's defensive players. This preseason, the color of a player's jersey during practice provides some indication where they stand with the coaching staff. The top performing players on the defense will wear black. The top performing players on the offense wear orange, and the quarterbacks are still wearing the non-contact black jersey. Head coach Fran Brown said the different colors indicate the player has been performing well and it is at least in the mix to be a starter when the season opens. Super Bowl champion coach Tom Coughlin paid a visit to the Syracuse football practice. Two-time Super Bowl champion coach Tom Coughlin got to try on a new persona on Friday when he visited Syracuse's football practice. The 79-year-old former Syracuse football player and assistant coach has been at SU practices on Wednesdays and Fridays this week, observing the team at work, roaming the practice field, and occasionally pulling a player aside to offer some advice. Defensive line coach John Scott Jr. said that Coughlin had been a yin to the yang of the Syracuse football coaching staff, offering explanations and encouragement to players when coaches have barked at them during practice. The players have enjoyed having him around because when you're coaching a guy hard or they have a bad rep, Coach Coughlin would go over and just give them some words of wisdom, Scott said. When you got a Super Bowl coach dropping nuggets like that, I'm right behind them, picking everything up. Contrary to his understanding approach on Friday, Coughlin's NFL reputation is as a no-nonsense disciplinarian, a mindset that helped him lead the New York Giants to Super Bowls in 2008 and 2012. In the commentary section from Brent Axe, Powell is ready to take what he learned at Syracuse and apply it to Le Moyne. Confession. Seeing Casey Powell walk into a room wearing green and white is jarring. Now, Powell has worn uniforms for 13 different professional teams in a Hall of Fame lacrosse career. But to see Powell donning Le Moyne gear in the shadow of where he became one of the greatest players in the history of Syracuse's University of Lacrosse, well, that's going to take some getting used to. Powell, the new head men's lacrosse coach at Le Moyne, maintains it's all been pointing to this moment. I've been fortunate to have a great adventure and journey in lacrosse, and I've tried to take as much of it as I possibly could to have this opportunity, Powell said in a recent one-on-one interview. I'm going to take everything I've learned in the past and put it into this opportunity and to men's lacrosse at Le Moyne. From the high school sports columns, former Liverpool field hockey star goalie takes over as coach, Kevin Smith. Ever since Megan Evangelista Welsh graduated from Liverpool in 2015, it was her goal to return and coach field hockey at her alma mater. Welsh has coached the Legends JV team since 2021 and has also coached with Syracuse Field Hockey Club. This season, she's climbing up the ladder in her first year as varsity coach. It's kind of surreal, Welsh said. It's going to be an interesting development for all of us. It's fun because I've coached all of the girls that are on the varsity team at the JV level, so it kind of comes full circle. Those years on JV all kind of blended together, but it was a great experience. Before coaching, Welsh was a star goalie for the schools in the early 20s. She recorded 292 career saves and was a 3-time All-League and 2-time All-State honoree. Also from sports news in the high school arena, Russ Simmons reportedly interested in a 5th year, Javon Edmonds. Wide receiver Justice Ross Simmons was set to meet with Syracuse's coaches on Saturday for return to the field for the upcoming season, sources told Syracuse.com, and this would be Syracuse football, not high school. Ross Simmons was not expected to suit up for Saturday's practice, but the meeting is viewed as a significant step toward re-signing the player who tied for the team lead with 5 touchdown receptions last season in limited action. Ross Simmons would need to be cleared academically before he can return, sources said. You're listening to a reading of articles and features from the Post Standard on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. And now from the high school headlines, overheard at Media Day, quote, I have a lot of humble pie waiting for them. Story by Lindsay Kramer. Syracuse.com rolled out its coverage of the 2026 Section 3 Fall Sports on Thursday with the first of 3 media days at Cicero North, Syracuse. Athletes from football, gymnastics, cheerleading, and marching band stopped by for photos and interviews at the gathering, which was presented by Syracuse orthopedic specialist and Crouse Health. The rest of the fall sports will get their turn at 2 more media days, Tuesday and Wednesday this week. And here's a sample of some of the chatter from Thursday's event. Whitesboro wide receiver Connor McDonald, on the frustration of recovering from a knee injury incurred during the last basketball season and missing the first 3 or 4 games of the football season. The toughest part is mentally when you took away something you love and something you love to do. Play football, play sports. That's what my personality is. And you took that away from me for a little bit, but you got to work really hard to get back to yourself, and I'm getting there. Just work hard on the other aspects of your life. You work harder in school, you got more time to work on your schoolwork, and then work harder in the gym, working your upper body and other stuff. And that's what I took from that. It just made me work harder in school. Bishop Luden Grimes, SAS kicker Mary Detour, while balancing duties while playing varsity soccer. I think the toughest part, she said, is finding time for everything else I have to do because it takes up a lot of my time. I just have to make other things a priority too. There's a lot of pressure I feel on myself, but I know if I take some deep breaths, I can go out there and do it all. New Skinny Atlas football coach Vince Romano on the lessons he took from playing professional sports in Italy in 2016-2017. Oh man, it's just a great atmosphere. It's about family and building a team and building a culture. We'd have practices at night, so a lot of the players, they have their kids, their families, and they all get together, do pre-practices and go through the meetings, hang out afterwards, and then go our separate ways. I wasn't a highly prized recruit. I was a walk-on. But just knowing every day that I get to grind and go after it and push myself and put myself in a position to be successful was a great experience. Baldwinsville assistant football coach Alfonso Whitehurst on bouncing back from last year's 0-9 mark under the first year of head coach Tyler Rouse. We'll just tell him it's like any book. Any book has a chapter, and that chapter's closed. We're on to the next chapter. It didn't go the way we wanted, but we're just going to build off of it. The kids have to trust the process, and hopefully by the end of the book, this time with us, they've gotten better as humans and football players. So hopefully by the end of this year, this new chapter is better than the last one. Utica Notre Dame running back DeMarco Santiago, who ran for 714 yards and 11 touchdowns, earning the All-State Honorable Mention honors despite an injury that cut short his season. I was really disappointed when it happened, he said, but I feel like it helped my team get on the roll they got on. It's hard mental, for sure, coming off a season where you've been doing good and then ending it short. But stuff happens, and that's why I got 2 more years left. I just tell myself what I missed last year, I got to do better at this year. Whitesboro quarterback Frank I'm sorry, Frank, on the carryover momentum of taking over in the 4th game last season and leading his team to 8 straight wins and a sectional title. It was definitely hard the first couple of weeks. I had a lot of practice through that, but after a couple of weeks, I felt comfortable. I feel like we opened up our pass game and we're getting more people out on the sides and being able to trust someone at quarterback to throw to. You can start week 1 this year a little more comfortable with a little more experience, so it'll be a little bit smoother this year. Some of the quotes from the media day and the high school kids this past week. Looking at the weather forecast coming up for the 3rd week of August, it looks like not a bad week on tap. On Monday, we're expecting 80 degrees and a little bit of rain. Tuesday, 80 degrees, but no rain. Wednesday, 82 and only a 40% chance of rain. And Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, highs in the 70s and no chance of rain. So that's a great start to the first week of the State Fair and the 3rd week of August. Around the state, Albany ranged in the 80s, as well as Elmira and Ithaca. In Lake George, it was in the high 70s, and Lake Placid in the low 70s, and at Saranac Lake in the 70s. Around the country, Anchorage is in the 60s these days. Honolulu is only in the high 80s. Nobody is in the triple digits except for Phoenix. And the low temperatures of the country always, as always, belong to Seattle in the summertime. Acapulco, sticking around the 80s. In Dublin, in the 60s, a little cool over there in Ireland this time of the year. And in Seoul, Korea, in the 80s. So let's take a look at what we can do this upcoming week around the state to enjoy this last month of summer from the Empire section of the newspaper. CNY Things to Do: take time to reconnect with Mother Nature, reptiles, green lakes, and urban gardens. From Jonathan Croyle. The New York State Fair is looming. This summer's biggest local event is just about a week away, and this week Central New York will take a breath. Our list is quieter and more eclectic. Still, there's plenty of things to do. Coming up on Monday, Beaver Lake Reptile Ramble. You can join the staff at the Beaver Lake Nature Center for a hike to spot reptiles and discuss some of the critters you see along the way. It's at 8477 East Mud Lake Road in Baldwinsville. Runs from 11 to noon on Monday, and it is free with a $5 park. Wednesday, community block party with Blueprint 15 hosting at the Libba Cotton Grove, featuring DJ Chris, popcorn and snow cones, games like Jenga and Connect 4, bounce houses, face painting, giveaways, and community resources. The event is open to all, though primarily serves the residents of the Syracuse Housing Authority. At 1338 South State Street in Syracuse, runs from 4 to 7 on Wednesday and is free to attend. On Thursday, Dirty Blanket at 315 Thursdays. The music group Dirty Blanket and special guest Jesse Elizabeth Band are the next performers at the Hanover Square series that continues this week and next week. Concerts are open to the public. Bring your friends, enjoy the restaurants and businesses, and experience what makes Hanover Square a nice gathering place. Details at 315thursdays.com. Hanover Square in Syracuse from 5 to 9 on Thursdays, and it is free to attend. Next Friday and Saturday, Do I Hear a Waltz? 5 years before his breakout hit Company, Stephen Sondheim paired with as partners as a lyricist with Broadway king Richard Rodgers to transform Arthur Laurentis's play In the Time of Cuckoo to a musical, Do I Hear a Waltz? The show features a sympathetic heroine, the romance of Venice, and the cast of colorful characters. The Covey Theater Company invites CNY audiences to judge this rarely staged work for themselves in a concert performance. Tickets at coveytheater.com. It's at 441 East Washington Street in Syracuse, runs at 7 p.m. on Friday and 2 p.m. on Saturday, and tickets start at $29.08. Also on Saturday, Anthony Rodia comedy show. The Italian-American comedian Anthony Rodia brings his insanely funny tour to Syracuse's Funny Bone. He blends sharp storytelling with his high-energy style rooted in family, life, cultural identity, and everyday absurdity. Known for his viral Uncle Vinny character and his 2024 Amazon special Totally Relatable, Rodia has built one of comedy's most loyal fan bases through his authentic, relatable humor. It's for 21 and older. A valid ID is required. Tickets are at syracusefunnybone.com. 10301 Destiny USA Drive in Syracuse. 6:30 on Saturday. Doors open at 5:30 and tickets run from $37 to $47. The Song and Dance is hosting a Home by 10 grown-up dance party built around a reasonable bedtime. Expect party anthems from the late 90s through the 2000s, with doors opening at 6 p.m. and the night wrapping up by 10. It's a chance to reunite with old friends and hit the dance floor without sacrificing the next morning. Find a link for tickets at thesonganddance.com. 115 East Jefferson Street in Syracuse, and it is at 6 p.m. on Saturday. Tickets are $10. The Doors tribute band Mojo Rising will perform at the Westcott Theater. You can arrive at 5 and enjoy Fat Boy Pizza Company pizza before the performance. Signature cocktails will also be available. Tickets are at thewestcotttheater.com. 524 Westcott Street. It is 6 p.m. Saturday. Doors open at 5. Standard seating is $37. Dinner and drinks $115. The Urban Agricultural Working Group at the Syracuse Onondaga Food System Alliance is hosting a tour of the community gardens and urban farms across Syracuse, giving participants a chance to see local growing projects and connect with fellow gardeners. The tour includes a morning bike ride led by Syracuse Bike Party, a midday potluck at the Westside Eco Farm, an afternoon bus tour through Westside Gardens, and a closing celebration at Holly Green Cultivating Community Garden. Attendees are welcome to join for part or all of the day. Please RSV for updates and more information at syrfoodalliance.org. It's 4141 South Salina Street in Syracuse, runs from 9:30 to 4 on Saturday, and is free to attend. Big Yellow Taxi will bring the music of Joni Mitchell to the Brewerton Center for the Arts this weekend. The concert spans her early folk roots through her jazz-influenced compositions. The band features the expressive vocals of Teresa Lorenzo, who channels Mitchell's distinctive voice across an expansive catalog. The performance aims to go beyond imitation to create an intimate journey through Mitchell's most beloved, powerful songs. Tickets at tinyurl.com/Big Yellow Taxi Tickets. 9660 Brewerton Road in Brewerton at 7 p.m. on Saturday. Advance tickets are $15 and $20 at the door, cash only. Visiting artist Julia Lyons Wilson invites the community to become co-creators of her ongoing project, Collective Mending, which uses weaving to care for the landscape. Stop by Stone Quarry Art Park to help weave a giant textile from sedge and cotton, work on personal mending projects, and share in a collaborative creative space. At 4 p.m., the afternoon concludes with an artist talk and a walk to a nearby meadow to unfurl the woven path created together. No weaving experience is needed. A raffle and snacks will be available. It's at 3883 Stone Quarry Road in Cazenovia, runs from 11 to 5 on Saturday, and is free to attend. The Authorpreneur Workshop and Book Fair will bring together regional authors, artists, and creative vendors to celebrate literature and creative entrepreneurship at Fulton's CNY Arts Center. Browse books, art, and goods, meet creators, and discover your next great read. A paid workshop is available for authors and aspiring authors to seek guidance in marketing and business planning. Free general admission tickets are at Eventbrite. A paid Saturday workshop pass is available for those seeking the business guidance. It's at 121 Cayuga Street in Fulton, runs from 11 to 5 on Saturday, and is free to attend. The Art Association of Oswego will host its annual Pottery Throwdown, a timed wheel throwing and hand building competition inspired by popular pottery competitive shows. Adult competitors with base wheel throwing experience will face clay challenges before a live studio audience for prizes. The event is a fundraiser for the AAO's Pottery Studio, and spectators of all ages are welcome. Register at oswegoarts.org, and questions can be directed to smlejo@gmail.com. It's at 30 Barbara Donahue Drive in Oswego from 11 to 1 on Saturday, and it's $80 to compete. The class size is limited to 18. Next Sunday, the Indigo Girls will perform at Beacon Skiff Apple Orchards. The duo made their debut in the 1980s with their debut album, Indigo Girls, which sold more than 2 million copies and included the singles Closer to Fine and Kid Fears. Their latest album, Look Long, was released in 2020. In 2023, they also released the documentary It's Only Life After All and a new single, What We Want to Be. Tickets are at beaconskiff.com. 2708 Lord Hills Road in Lafayette at 7 p.m. on the 23rd. Doors will open at 5 and tickets are $56. NBT Bank Stadium will hold the season's final Bark in the Park Syracuse Mets game. Proceeds of dog ticket sales will go to animal rescue groups in the area. The first 500 dogs receive a Bark in the Park beach towel. Dog tickets must be purchased in the Onondaga Coach ticket office, and both humans and canines need tickets. First pitch against the Worcester Red Sox is scheduled for 1:05 p.m. It's at 1 Tex Simone Drive in Syracuse. 105 on August 23rd. Tickets start at $21. Dog tickets are $5. And finally, the Silverwood Clarinet Choir kicks off its 20th anniversary season with a concert on a private lawn in Manlius. The program opens with two clarinet quintets before the full choir performs a large range of works, including Rimsky-Korsakov's Procession of the Nobles, Sounds of the Sea, and Spinning Wheel. Attendants will also hear a full clarinet family from the bright E-flat clarinet to the deep contrabass clarinet. Bring a lawn chair or a blanket and a picnic. It's at 4111 Pompey Center Road in Manlius. Just look for the balloons on the mailbox. 6 p.m. August 23rd, and is free to attend. You're listening to a reading of articles and features from the Post-Standard on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. An article that I missed in the Empire section is about Pavone's Pizza. Pizza is just one slice of the Pavone building in its 135-year history. Story by Jonathan Croyle. There's a story behind every Syracuse building, and this is one of them. Pavone's Pizza at 349 South Warren Street is a downtown Syracuse institution. During the busy lunchtime, the time to order a fresh slice of pizza often stretches from the counter to the back of the store. It's a regular ritual for many city workers and residents. Pavone's has been serving pizza at the same spot for 46 years. Now, if it's pronounced Pavone's, I apologize, okay? Next time you're there, look around. Chances are you have no idea of the history of the simple 5-story building. Commerce has been happening at 349 South Warren Street almost nonstop since at least 1889. Before pizza, through the years, you could buy furniture, phonographs, bicycles, toys, and even one of the earliest automobiles right there. It was among the first commercial buildings on a previously residential street. The address was significant for its association with the expansion of the financial core of the city in the late 19th and 20th centuries, said Syracuse.com reporter Rick Moriarty back in 2019. Today it's known as the Pavone's Building, one of the first places in Syracuse to find authentic New York-style pizza. It started as a home furnishing house. The C.F. Adams Company Home Furnishing was a giant, like an early version of Amazon, where a person could outfit your residence. You got married, you feathered the nest, and that was the 1899 tagline for the business. The store sold furniture, rugs, bedroom and parlor sets, fancy chairs, desks, cabinetry, vases, piano lamps, clocks, curtains, and draperies. This extensive store at 349 Warren Street will well repay one for a visit, a short article in September 1891 Evening Herald said. Alfred Elvin, a well-known manager, has pushed the button on this city to mammoth proportions. The arrival of the 20th century saw a new occupant. W.A. Doubleday Company open a new store, selling first brand new and secondhand bicycles, including Frontenac and Regal bikes assembled right here in Syracuse. New bicycles were sold for $30 to $50. Used bikes went from $5 to $19. Everybody can't do everything, an advertisement said. We can't paint a picture, carve a statue, or make a deal, but we do know the bicycle business, and we certainly know the best bicycles for the money attainable. In 1904, you could even buy a rudimentary car there. The best ever, an ad boasted. The 1904 Orient Buckboard Auto is here and is certainly a winner. The car sold for $428, about $16,000 in today's money, and was guaranteed to climb any hill, which was necessary in hilly Syracuse. Later that year, Doubleday went in another direction. Then the phonograph changed the way people were entertained at home, so the store sold Edison players and records. Go to Doubleday's when you want to hear some nice phonographs and the latest records, the ads say. They have the finest place to demonstrate them in the city, and we're always pleased to play them for you, whether you want to buy them or not. 1910 saw the opening of the Grand Onondaga Hotel across the street and a new store selling another music status symbol. The G. Clay Cox Piano Company moved in at 315 Warren to a larger location and offered 12 new piano players starting at $350 and 100 standard pianos with ivory keys and genuine mahogany starting at $179. You could also take an elevator up to the Syracuse Millinery Company for the latest in women's hat styles. Kaz was followed by the Greenleaf Piano Company and then the Crane Piano Company in 1914. You could hear a free Victrola concert every afternoon from 2 to 5, and all were welcome. And in January of 1916, Caroline Palmer sold the entire building to furniture dealer Fleischman and Sons, who planned, as the Syracuse Herald reported, one of the best retail furniture stores in central New York. So many, many changes to this building over the years, but now it's the place to go for the best authentic New York style pizza. So whether you're going outside to enjoy the fair or other things around the area, or you're going to stay in, let's take a look at the What to Watch column. DC Universe expands with a group of intergalactic peacekeepers in the show Lanterns. It's a TV series set within the DC Universe that finds Kyle Chandler, Aaron Pierre, and Nathan Fillion playing members of the Green Lantern Corps, a group of intergalactic peacekeepers. Kelly MacDonald, Jarrett Dillahunt, Purna Yegathan, Paul Ben Victor, and Nicole Ari Parker and Jason Ritter also star. It'll run Sundays at 9 p.m. on HBO. On television, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. In season 18, the gang tackles workplace automation and job loss, Renaissance fairs, conspiracy theories, and Frank getting cold feet ahead of his wedding. Runs on Mondays, 9 p.m. on FX. And the streaming services, Kelsey Cook, Happy Hour, filmed at the Fitzgerald Theater in St. Paul, Minnesota. The comedy stand-up features bits on anxiety, a plain bathroom mishap, and dating. That'll begin streaming this Tuesday on Netflix. Average Joe, the Dion Cole-led action comedy, moves from BET to Paramount for its second season. Begins streaming on Wednesday on Paramount+. Conan O'Brien Must Go, Season 3's 4 episodes that include trips to India, Morocco, the Philippines, and the Netherlands will begin streaming weekly on Fridays on HBO Max. On home video and on demand, Project Hail Mary. Ryan Gosling will star as an unassuming science teacher who finds himself alone in space while trying to save the world and befriending an alien. It's directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, adapted from Andy Weir's best-selling 2021 novel. From what I hear, it's very, very good. Barbarian, a woman arriving at her Airbnb and discovering it's already inhabited by another renter. And that's the best thing that happens to her in this bone-rattling horror film from writer-director Zach Cregger. Epic, the Elvis Presley in concert film. Baz Luhrmann concert film is made up of never-be-seen footage of Elvis Presley performing in Vegas. And I can tell you that when you're watching that film, it is very hard to tell the difference between anyone playing Presley and actually Presley himself. It's very, very good. Tuner, a talented piano tuner, gets swept up in a life of crime and he discovers the ability to crack safes, featuring Leo Woodall, Dustin Hoffman, and Allison Richmond Peck. Brothers Under Fire, an action flick centered on a special forces group that's called into service to battle a cartel while at a destination wedding in Mexico, with Kiefer Sutherland as part of the cast. Signal 1, Isabel Furman, David Thewlis, and Dennis Quaid star in this sci-fi film about a group of scientists searching for alien life at the behest of a tech billionaire. And Minions and Monsters. Wow, this is on streaming already. It was just in theaters. This franchise's latest entry is a love letter to Hollywood in which we learn about a trio of filmmaking minions who gatecrashed the studio system in the 1920s and then strike out on their own to make an independent monster movie and have to save the world from what they unleash. That's just what's happening around the movie scene on your television screen. And lastly, from our CNY Inspirations column. I'm sorry, but I don't know how to say your name. Shia Gozum Ofor. A active involvement in the community, promoting understanding, encouragement, and meaningful conversations, and working toward creating positive change. He also serves as the Youth Dialogue Coordinator at the El Hindi Center of Dialogue and Action at Interfaith Works of CNY. and is a youth development professional and strong advocate for cultural awareness. The light we leave behind matters to those we encounter, is the title of his column. The impact we have on others is often measured not by grand achievements, but by the quiet moments of kindness we choose each day. A smile, a word of encouragement, a patient conversation, or a helping hand may seem small, yet these simple acts can leave lasting impressions. Kindness is a way of extending beyond the moment in which it is given. Someone who receives compassion during a difficult time is often inspired to offer the same to another. In this way, one thoughtful gesture can create a ripple effect that reaches people we may never meet. Life presents countless opportunities to make positive differences without seeking recognition. We do not have to change the world all at once. We simply need to brighten the corner where we are. As you move through your day, consider the light you leave behind. Small acts of kindness may be forgotten by the giver, but they're often remembered by the one who needed them most. You've been listening to a reading of articles and features from the weekend edition of the Post Standard. As always, we welcome your comments, your input, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you don't want to hear anything about, and what you might want to hear more about. Please let us know. Your reader has been Donna, and we thank you for listening.